What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. College basketball Draftkings, Monday, January 18th. We got a nice three-game slate that starts at 2:30, and the last game's at 9 o'clock. So I don't really know why Draftkings made the slate like this, but this is what we got. This is what we got today. One game at 2:30, one game at 7, one game at 9. So we have a big break between games, which there's going to be an injury that's kind of important that we're going to talk about. That is going to pretty much determine the slate, in my opinion, especially for Florida State. But before I do, if you're new here, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to this channel. It really, really helps me grow. Leave a comment, tell me who you think the best player of the day is, um, and turn on a notification bell so you do know when all my videos are available. All that stuff just really helps the growth of my channel a ton. So thank you guys so much for all the support so far. If you want to get this spreadsheet with all the stats you need to know, along with projections for every single college basketball slate for the rest of the year, it's only $5 a month. I'll put the link in the description below. It's on Patreon description or Patreon link, so hit that link down there below, and you can get this spreadsheet for yourself. But that's really all I got to say on that. Let's get into the plays. We're going to start out with Florida State as they are going to be taking on Louisville today. This is the game at 7 o'clock. This game has an implied total of 140 and a half, with Florida State being slight 1 point underdogs. Florida State has an implied team total of 69.7, and Louisville has an implied team total of 70.7. This is the game with the injury I was talking about. So Scotty Barnes is questionable today. Right now, I do not have him projected for minutes because he has not played the last two games. Sat out against Carolina on Saturday, so we will see if he plays. If he plays, then Raekwon Gray's value is pretty much shot. I'm not going to be interested in Raekwon Gray at all. And this is gonna be interesting for the rotation as well because last game without Scotty Barnes, we finally saw Florida State go to a rotation with giving players like 30 plus minutes, other than MJ Walker. MJ Walker's been the only guy who's been getting like the 30 plus minutes, and then you saw Scotty Barnes miss, and all of a sudden you have the rotation was tightened. So if Scotty Barnes is to miss, then these Florida State guys are actually going to be pretty good plays because they actually are going to be playing the minutes. But if Scotty Barnes is in, I do expect the minutes probably to go back down into the 20s for most of these guys, kind of killing their value, except for MJ Walker, who I didn't put on this sheet for or on a video sheet for whatever reason. But MJ Walker, I am interested in. He's going to be the only guy who is going to play in the upper 30s minutes. He's the most expensive guy on the team, but other than Scotty Barnes. But I mean, he's worth it. So MJ Walker would be the one guy I'm interested, regardless of if Scotty Barnes plays or does not. But if Scotty Barnes is out, I think Raekwon Gray is pretty interesting. He's $5,700. He played 30 minutes last game. He got the start in place of Scotty Barnes. He has a zero point 0.8 point per minute guy. He has a usage rate of 18.5 and assist rate of 14.1 and a rebound rate of 13.7. He's a pretty good player. He's been a really good bench player for Florida State the last 2 years, and I think if he's going to start at 5,700 against Louisville, I think that's a pretty good spot for him. And then Balsa Cup Rivika, 5,200. I have him for 30 minutes. He's a 1.03 point per minute guy, usage rate 22.5, and a rebound rate of 17.4. This is a guy who's been really productive on the year. We just haven't seen him get the playing time, but we finally did when the rotation was tight in the last game. So if Scotty Barnes is to miss, I think this guy is a very, very good play. But this can be the news you got to pay attention to. And fortunately, you have the first game. We're not going to know if Scotty Barnes is playing at 2:30 when the first game happens. I really doubt that. You can look, but I really doubt it's going to happen. But then the next game is starting at 7 o'clock, so we'll know the news before the next game starts, and you'll know what to do for your lineups at that point. I do think MJ Walker is a good play regardless of all this stuff. I mean, you can still go to these guys because it is a three-game slate, but I don't think they have as much value as some other guys on the slate. Now we're going to go to the other side of that game, which is Louisville, where the three guys I'm going to be interested in are Carlik Jones, David Johnson, and DeAndre Davis. On DraftKings, it says Dre Davis, so just pay attention to that. Carlik Jones is $9,300. He's the best player for Louisville this year. I have been projected for 36 minutes. He's a zero point 0.8 point per minute guy. The usage rate 26.2, and assist rate 26.3. Not as much of a great rebound rate, but he's going to play a ton of minutes. He's the highest usage guy on the team. He's a little expensive. 9,300 feels like a little bit too much to pay for him, but there's really not a ton of pay up spots to go to, as you see on the slate. So if you want to pay up for Carlik Jones, you can go for it. I don't think you need to today, but I do think he's fine regardless. And David Johnson's starting point guard for Louisville. He's probably going to be an NBA player next year. This guy's very good college point guard. Going to be a solid NBA point guard, I believe, as well. He's $6,800. He gave him 34 minutes today. He's a 0.84 point per minute guy. Usage rate 23.9 and assist rate 22.5. So you're basically getting the same amount of rates as you are with Carlik Jones for like 3,000 less, 2,500 less. I would rather pay that all day. I really do like David Johnson. He's definitely one of my favorite plays on the slate for sure. I think David Johnson grades out very well. So $1,600 for me just feels a little too cheap for him. I gave Carlik Jones a few more minutes, and Carlik Jones probably will play a few more minutes, but I mean the rates are about the same, and I think you're just getting a huge discount on someone who's a pretty similar player. Then DeAndre Davis is $5,300. He's just going to play a lot of minutes for his price tag. He's not a great producer, only a 0.55 point per minute guy with a usage rate of 16, but he's going to play a lot of minutes at that price tag, and that is valuable. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be the most valuable thing in the world, but it is valuable on a small slate where you don't really have a ton of value. Now we're going to go to Kansas, where they are going to be playing Baylor today. This is the big game of the day. We see Baylor, Macio Teague on the cover, but this is the big game of the day. I mean, you have the number 2 team in the country, who, in my opinion, is the best team in the country, in Baylor, and then Kansas, who is just a big rival or another top 10 team right now. So you're going to have 2 teams that rank really, really highly playing against each other, and we'll see if Baylor can take their first loss today. Um, we will look at the totals of this game. It has an implied game total of 141, with Kansas having only an implied team total of 65.6, which is the lowest team total on the slate. Yeah, Kansas has the lowest team total on the slate. Wild things these days. Um, and then you have Baylor has an implied team total of 141 with an implied team total of 75.4, which is basically tied for the most highest on day. I mean, you have 0.5 difference for UConn, but we'll get to that game in a minute. When we go look at pace, this game is going to be a pretty fast-paced game at 73.4. Not the fastest-paced game of the day, but still pretty fast-paced game. It's going to be a pace-up spot for Kansas, pace-down spot for Baylor. I mean, that's nothing really too much to worry about. I like both sides here. Marcus Garrett, Christian Brown, Jalen Wilson, Ochai Agbaji are the guys that I'm interested in Kansas. Marcus Garrett, in my opinion, is just still too cheap. He's $5,600. He plays a ton of minutes. Yeah, his usage rate isn't that high at 15.3, but he does have a nice 20 assist rate. I mean, I don't think he's been involved in this offense as everyone thought he was going to be this year, which honestly, I never really expected that, which was why I had doubts about Kansas going into this year, because I didn't think Marcus Garrett was going to be able to be like the guy on offense, which he really hasn't. But other guys have stepped up. But Marcus Garrett at 5,600 does feel like a pretty solid value. But Christian Brown, I mean, I think it's a great value. Look, also Bryce Thompson is the backup point guard for Kansas. He is out this game. And the last time uh, we saw Bryce Thompson out was 2 games ago against, I think, Texas Tech or Texas. It was a good team, close game, and we saw Kansas just pretty much run their starting backcourt, a ton of minutes, instead of giving DeJuan Harris like 25 minutes. And I expect that to be the same against Baylor, a team that's really, really good, a team the best defensive backcourt in the country, in my opinion. I think that this is just a spot where you're going to see these guards get a ton of minutes, and that makes Christian Brown. I give him 38 today, $5,100. He may not get 38 minutes. He might get like 34, but at $5,100, that's going to be great in a pace-up spot. He's only a .89 guy, but that's not even bad. A usage rate only of 18.7, but he's just going to play a ton of minutes at $5,100. He just hits like 1 or 2 more shots than normal. He's going to smash. So Christian Brown, I think, is a very good option today. He's someone I definitely want to target. And then Jalen Wilson, $6,400. He's been one of the guys who I talked about who stepped up big time this year. I have him for 29 minutes. He's a 1.08 point per minute guy. Usage rate 24.8, assist rate 12.8, and a rebound rate of 14.8. So Jalen Wilson looks really good for me. I think he grades out well. This is going to be a guy I want to target. But then Ochai Agbaji is probably the best play. I really like him. I think Christian Brown might be the best play in Kansas, but Ochai Agbaji looks good too. In 38 minutes today, he's almost a 1 point per minute guy. Usage rate 21.4 and assist rate of 14.2. Grades out really, really well for me. So I do think he's very good. And now let's go to the back end of this game. We got Macio Teague and Davion Mitchell. These are going to be the 2 guys I'm interested in. Jared Butler, I think, is way too expensive today. I don't want to pay $8,800 for Jared Butler. I love Jared Butler. He's a great player, but I don't want to pay that much money for him, so I'm not really interested in him. But Teague is $6,900. I gave him 37 minutes. He's almost a 1 point per minute guy. Usage rate 21.4. He's been a very good point guard for them the last 2 years. Very good three-point shooter if he gets it going. He's going to be a great value to this guy in the cover today. And then Davion Mitchell, $6,500. I gave him 31 minutes. He has a 1.09 point per minute guy. Usage rate 18.4, but a nice rebound rate of 32.5. So both these guys grade out very well for me. They're 2 guys I want to target on Baylor. And the last game we're going to talk about, which is actually the first game of the day, is St. John's and UConn. This game's at 2:30, so this game we really need to pay attention to early, get the plays right then, and then go from there later as news breaks. This game has the highest implied game total of the day, 143. UConn has the highest implied team total at 75.9, but St. John's has a low one at 67.5. This game is going to have a pace of 74.8, which is the fastest pace of the day. Now, UConn's going into a huge, huge pace up spot against St. John's, but St. John's is going into a huge pace down spot against UConn. Not really going to be too interested in much from St. John's, except for Greg Williams Jr. I think he's too cheap. He's only $4,900. I gave him 31 minutes today. He's almost a whole point per minute guy at .92. The usage rate at 18.4 and an assist rate of 15.8. It seems way too cheap for me. At $4,900, that is definitely someone I do want to target. And then on UConn, RJ Cole, Tyrese Martin, Isaiah Whaley, Brendan Adams. Look, basically anybody on this offense I'm interested in. RJ Cole, $6,300, 35 minutes. He's a point 0.7 guy. Usage rate 20.3, assist rate 23.5. He's definitely way too cheap for his rates anyway, but now you get a nice matchup too. I think RJ Cole is definitely a good spot to go to. Tyrese Martin, $7,500. Again, 37 minutes. He's a 1.01 point per minute guy. Usage rate 17. Rebound rate is 16.6. Looks good. He's going to play a ton of minutes. Isaiah Whaley playing a ton of minutes. He's a 1.2 point per minute guy at $7,300. 17.9 usage rate, 15.1 rebound rate. He's probably my favorite play on this team. I definitely like him a lot. And then Brendan Adams looks like a good value at $4,600. Gave him 29 minutes today. He's only a 0.59 point per minute guy, only usage rate of 14.6. But once again, on a small slate, you're going to get cheap guys that are going to play minutes. That's what you're looking for. So I think that's really all I got to say on this video. Thank you guys so much for checking this out. Be sure to pay attention to news. That Florida State news is really big on this slate, in my opinion. It's probably the biggest part of this slate that we're going to need to pay attention to. So just, 6 o'clock, when 6 o'clock rolls around, 6:30, something like that. Probably, I mean, honestly, college basketball sometimes goes to the last minute, so just be paying attention if Scotty Barnes is in or not. He might be a game time decision too, which can be tough. So just pay attention, and you should be able to be sharp and make pivots based on what you think is going to happen. So thank you guys so much for checking this out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Let's make some money. Got NBA video up as well right now for the early games, and I got a later NBA late slate one coming out later too. So be sure to stick around for those. And let's make some money today.